In today's video, I have some ideas about how you can establish yourself as a light bearer in your own community. But for the first thing that you want to think of is creating a intention for today's angel Q&A and just kind of hold it in your heart, whatever it is that you would like to receive from your own angels, and post your name and where you're tuning in from in the comment section below, and just kind of hold it in your mind's eye, whatever it is that you desire to receive information about, and then be open about how our angels can work together across time and space to get you a clue or get you a message. It might be a direct message or it might be an indirect message, but if you just open your mind and your heart to being willing to receive, then that positions you to do so. So a light bearer is someone who is strategically placed across the entire world in different communities to hold light and to hold wisdom, and especially in times of darkness and chaos, which we are currently going through. And at strategic times, it's kind of like our higher self has a knowing that now is the time for us to really turn the light on in the lighthouse. And you can even think of it like that. And I really feel confident that even though you might have come to this video today for different reasons, some people might want to hear about their mom on the other side of the veil. Other people may want to know about a romantic relationship, but just trust that you are a star seed, or you would not be attracted to working with me or to interacting with me. And often star seeds are positioned in communities where seemingly there's not any other star seeds around. So you might feel like a fish out of water. You may feel like you are the only person in your community that has crystals, that burns incense, that talks to the nature spirits or talks to their angels or reads about metaphysical topics or paranormal, or is interested in the things that you're interested in. And I talk to a lot of people that they tell me, like, none of my friends talk about these things. I don't feel comfortable talking to anybody about some of the things that I experience through dreams, or some of my visions, or things that I think about or that I see. And what they don't know is that there are several other people in their community that are telling me the same thing. So just trust that you're not unusual, you're not alone, you're not crazy. And even though you may feel like you are all alone, it's important that at this time that we all start to take action to do our best to be a blessing to the community in a positive way, as far as like bringing through inspiration, encouragement, maybe education or entertainment that is in a beauty way, that's not, hateful or mean. And we have so many avenues that we can do that in this day and age without really kind of making a stand and saying, hey, I'm a light worker, or I'm a star seed, or I'm a lighthouse. We don't really have to hang a shingle, but we can do that through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram, through YouTube, through there's all sorts of different avenues where we can encourage other people in very simple ways. I have one of my friends that lives like way out in the boondocks is what we call it here. And but she posts these fun little memes on Facebook with these cute images, and they're just simple little sayings, like little mindset ideas that are just kind of the idea is to be fun, but at the same time to maybe be thoughtful. And so she doesn't realize how much she's able to be a blessing to other people that are really caught up in the turmoil of the times, and they're frightened and they're afraid for their careers, for their jobs, for their families, for their own health. And whenever you can read something that captures your imagination and just helps you to, it helps you to elevate your vibrations, and that makes it easier for you to be able to connect to your own higher self. So that's the goal is, and that's why every day, like 4 or 5 times a day, I post something throughout different platforms that can help you to kind of tweak your mindset and turn it towards the light a little bit, give you a little bit of encouragement, affirmations, inspiration, different ideas that can elevate your consciousness. So that is some simple ways that all of you can do it. And don't think because you don't have a following. One of my friends sent in a question. I don't know how to build a following. Don't feel like you have to build a following. I think it's something that happens organically, and it's like whenever when you put things on your Facebook page or on Twitter or whatever it is, you could. There is one lady that every day, whenever the kids go by, well, used to when they went to school, but right now they're out of school. But she would wave at the school buses, and this was her way of elevating their courage at the time and just giving them some joy in the only way that she knew how to do it, and that was to smile and wave every day when the school buses would go by. But those kids really, they looked forward to seeing her, and I feel like that was one of her ways of saying, hey, we're in this together, and we have a dream, all of us, and today is a day to smile. And that was the only way she knew to touch the world with beauty. So don't feel like you have to have a polished platform to do that from, or that you have to somebody has to ordain you and say, okay, you're the person for our community. It doesn't work like that. That is a part of all of us stepping up into our power and doing what we can to pull from our higher self ideas and then sharing them with other people. And I feel like sometimes you might be afraid that you're going to make mistakes, or you're going to tell somebody something that's wrong, or that you might be ridiculed. People might make fun of you, they might laugh at you, or they may think you're foolish, or they may say things like, well, who do you think you are? And I think I've heard all of those things. Don't worry about that, because you might plant a seed, even in the people that are being mean and that are being hateful to you. You might still plant a seed, and at some time when they're able to kind of step out of the little me, then that seed might be able to take root, and they might be able to move into higher aspects of their own soul consciousness. And that's what we want to do. So be sure and put your name and where you're tuning in from in the comments below, and just create an intention to touch into this circle and to hold space today, hold a vision with your angels and my angels, that we can pull down ideas and encouragement and messages that can be meaningful to all of us. So that is a simple way for us to get started. And then in a few minutes, post your questions in the comments. But give me a few minutes, because the Facebook, the feed goes by really fast, so I can't really see it too well. So you may have to post your questions a couple of times, but I do see you on there, and I'm happy to see my friends and people that I don't know. Thank you all for stepping in today. So be sure and light a candle too. So I have my candle going. And when we light a candle, that is a way for us to send a signal out to the universe that we align ourselves with the light. And that all by itself is a great way of establishing the angels and the like shields of protection around you, so that it raises the vibrations and you're more able to kind of catch on to ideas that you can take the ball and run with it. So I think of a torch bearer or a light bearer as sort of like a lighthouse in your community. And just like a lighthouse on the coast, it needs to be a very solid structure, and it needs to be very grounded, because that is what all of the ships and the sailboats and the fishermen, when they're trying to get home and maybe there's a storm, they're looking for those lighthouses to help guide them in to the safe harbors. So the way that relates to us as a light bearer or a torch bearer for our community is that we want to do the best that we can to establish a strong spiritual foundation. And the best way that we can do that is by practicing a spiritual sort of meditation every day, and making sure that we're very grounded in this in the physical dimension. For a lot of us, that is very challenging, because we might be like a dreamer or have a hard time appreciating this dimension. I know sometimes I have a hard time appreciating some of the chaos that we get caught up in, but you want to just trust that your soul positioned you here for a reason, and you're going to make the best of it and to gather as much value out of this soul journey as you possibly can. And when you create that intention, that helps you to maybe get more grounded. There are lots of techniques that you can use to help you ground, but one of the best ones that I like to use is just physically just imagining that as you're sitting in your chair getting ready to do a meditation, that out of the root chakra, just imagine that there is a cord, and just in your mind's eye, just see or visualize or imagine that the cord is just sinking down into the floor beneath you and on down into the ground, and just with your mind's eye seeing going into the dirt, into the sands and the soils below the surface, down through the rocks and the stones, the pebbles, and just imagine and let it go all the way down into the very core of the earth. And when it gets into the center of the earth, in your mind's eye, just imagine that there is a huge rock. Just see it there. And tie this cord around that rock. And that is your way of anchoring yourself into the core of the earth. And then just pretend that you're climbing back up the silver cord that's connected to your body, just hand over hand. Just see yourself going up through the rocks and the boulders and the stones that are deep into the center of the earth, and moving back up through the sands and the soils and the pebbles, back up into the center of your room and back into your physical body. And then you know that you are very grounded and you're in a good position to be able to meditate and to activate all of your light, all of your chakras, and to really be a light beacon that is grounded. And that way, whenever people around you might be a little bit unnerved or maybe shocked or whatever they are, that you are not so apt to being rocked by their position, that you are more grounded and stabilized, and that you know that for whatever reason they're working through their pieces, that they may be uncomfortable with moving into higher levels of understanding. And so whatever it is that you're saying, or that the light, how it might unnerve them, it might make them uncomfortable, but I really believe that we have to go through a little time of chaos before we can get to a time of stability. It's just one of those immutable laws that in order to grow and to evolve, we have to kind of go through an uncomfortable phase. So trust that when we're going through chaos, that's okay, because there is stability and there's light on the other side of chaos. One of the things that we want to imagine ourselves is activating our light codes, and sometimes our chakras collect a little bit of debris, like different centers of our chakras, whenever we take on things that are going on around us that we don't know how to process, or when people say things or do things to us that causes pain or suffering, and we're not able to work through that at the time or do our forgiveness work, then it can cause debris, and it can cause our lights to kind of shut down, our chakras to close up. And in order for us to be a true light bearer in our community, we really need all of our chakras functioning. They need to be strong. They need to be in their purest, most vibrant, healthy state imaginable. And what that means is working our personal pieces. So I've talked a lot about that in some of my other videos, but through our meditations, and if you just create the intention with your angels to clear whatever attachments you have to what is keeping you from being able to activate your light and to be able to shine, just create the intention to have an understanding of what is blocking you. And your own angels, they will give you little clues. It might be while you're sleeping at night. It might be while you're driving down the road. I get a lot of mine when I'm exercising, like when I'm cleaning out stalls in the barn, or riding my horses, or on the motorcycle, or even walking. That's probably one of my best ways of getting clues of where I'm holding on to stuff. And anytime we're holding on to stuff, whether it's anger, sometimes we think we deserve to be angry, but honestly, in order to really move forward, we have to do our forgiveness work, even if we feel like we darn well deserve to be mad or to be frustrated or to be angry. We have to be willing to let go of it. So the things right now that we really want to hold on to and be a light bearer for are the ideas of freedom, of peace, of protection, and of vibrancy and well being. Those are the things that our planet, not just us and our little community, but our whole entire planet, we really need light bearers to hold the light and to hold a vision for those pieces right now: peace, protection, freedom, vibrancy, and well-being. So one thing that you can do whenever you are praying or meditating or working with your angels, there are so many different ways that you can activate this. You can do it through just as simply as your imagination. Imagination is a powerful word, and it's a reminder to us of our multidimensional self. So, imagining, I image a nation. And so, we have this amazing imaging tool. It's right between our third eye, like right here. And it is like this beautiful crystal ball. And when we can go into our imagination and we can hold a vision for protection for all of the children on planet Earth, just hold that in your heart and in your mind's eye for like a couple of minutes. And that is a great way to launch that dream and send it out into the universe. But before it goes into the universe, it goes through your community and then through the city where you live and the state and then throughout the country. And then it catches on to um, going around the world, and people can be inspired by that without you really intending for them to be inspired, because they can catch on to your imagining. And then you hold another vision for the next thing that we want to send out into the world. The ideas of freedom, hold it in your third eye. So you have your first eye, this is your second eye, this is your third eye. And we have a lot more, but eyes are like these little tentacles that perceive. They perceive light, they perceive energy, they perceive things that are in motion, images. And what we want to do is to place our goals within that third eye so that we can launch that vision, the vision of freedom for all living beings, even the animals and the people that might not be free to live their soul's dream. Our freedom is the most important thing that we have here, because without that, we don't have the ability to pursue any self mastery or spiritual goals or pursuits. So, freedom is huge, not just for ourselves, but for all living beings. So, that is an important thing to send out. Vibrancy and well being. Hold the image of vibrant physical, spiritual, mental, soul bodies to be vibrant and well and healthy on all levels. That is a huge thing right now. Do these little envisionings or imagings any way that you feel comfortable. You could do it in a ceremony with your angels. Ask your angels to sit with you, hold space, help you to be inspired about how to work with them to hold these visions and to be a light bearer in your community for all of these ideas. I like to always light a candle, maybe burn some incense, have a crystal and some an element or glass where I can hold some water, so that you have all of the elements that are present. And then we ourselves, we represent the aspect of spirit. So when you have that all together in whatever way that you want to do it, through meditation or through prayers, through angel ceremonies, through a sweat lodge, a sacred dance, maybe mystical yoga, whatever, however you want to do that, then you can be assured that you have the attention of the angels and your own guides and your own teachers, and you have all of the representations of the elements. So you are in a position of power to hold a vision, to touch the world with beauty in a really good way. All right, so I see all of you coming on, but it's kind of hard to make everybody out. But I did want to just really inspire you to use your voice, even if you don't feel like you have a platform, even if it's in you only have 30 people on Facebook as friends. You know, post things or share things. Find other pieces that I do that all the time. If I find somebody's post that I feel like is just really relevant and can be a source of encouragement to other people, just hit that share button. That you never know who might be really needing something to hold on to. And in my business, I take a lot of calls from people that are really going through some dark times. So don't feel like that your piece of encouragement is not relevant or could not be meaningful, because it might be the one thing that keeps one of your friends, or maybe someone you don't even know, from taking their own life because they're just in a dark place and they don't know what else to do. So right now we're really going through a huge shift, and it's just really important that as many star seeds as possible, that we begin to step up into our power in a beauty way. We don't want to do that from an aggressive kind of a power hungry point, but to be balanced, and that means balanced to our physical, the feminine, and to the divine masculine, and that we're not like over the top, but we really want to do what we can to activate our light codes the best way that we can right now, using our meditations, our imaging to be able to bring more light and beauty. All right. So, another thing that I had a reminder of is to just really be mindful of the breath. Like our prana surrounds each and every one of us, and anytime that we take a breath and we move it into the heart center, it just helps to create coherence between like a heart mind interface, so that we can bring that oxygen into the bloodstream, into the cells, into the organs in the body that are crying out for vibrancy. That can be such a powerful healing for us right now, because as we oxygenate fully the bloodstream, the cells in the body, the DNA, the organs in the body that are crying out for this fresh oxygen, then that helps to establish more vibrancy, and then we're not as at risk for viruses or for illness or for disease. But we also want to nourish the body on other levels with things like your power drinks. And I'm not talking about monster drinks, I'm talking about smoothies, but also juices, carrot juice with some beets and celery and apples, using organic produce. That's going to give the organs in the body a mineral wash that that is just pure vibrancy for them. They don't have to, your body doesn't have to work really hard to digest all of that, and it can just go straight to business. Another thing that is so important right now that will be very helpful for a lot of you that are really struggling with depression right now and just in a sad, dark time is to just ask your soul, create the intention to download more of your soul energy. And I know that this is a hard concept for a lot of us to wrap our minds around. It really was for me too. But we are multi-dimensional, and our higher self, it has more going on than just this person in this body and this presentation. We have things going on in a lot of different realities. So if you feel like you are struggling and you really need more energy or more support or more light, create the intention with your higher self. And a great way to do that is to say your own first name out loud 3 times. And that is a way of calling the attention of your highest guardian angel and just say, hey, you know what? I need more energy. I need more vibrancy, or I need more of a connection, or I would like to have, or you could do it in a way as if you're thanking your highest guardian angel before you have what you want. And that is a really powerful way of stepping into your power. So for instance, thank you, highest guardian angel, for bringing more vibrancy into my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies. Thank you for bringing more understanding of my soul's journey here, of my soul's blueprint, of my soul's path. Thank you for bringing encouragement and inspiration and ideas, and especially like clues of when I'm on the right trail. And whatever it is that you need, say thank you. And I feel like that is a really powerful way to get the attention of your higher self, because self-mastery pursuits is one of the biggest things that we come here for, is to master our fear, master our like the wounded, abandoned, little needy child that is mad and is throwing a little fit. We want to master that, and it's easier said than done, but it's doable. And our higher self wants to see us do that. And when they see that we are taking measures to help ourselves in this way, and that we are grasping on to mindset understandings, and that we're using them, even if it might feel, you might feel like you're bumbling around, but you are using those mindset techniques. They're more, our higher self is more to give you what you need, or to give you encouragement, or to give you more attention. I've had to do this several times in my life, and I understand what it feels like to be to feel like a fish out of water, like I don't know what I'm doing here. And I've had to do this very thing, and they responded and gave me more of what could support me. Often the thing that you think you need or want or desire is not relevant to your true soul journey and to your soul path. And if you can make peace with that, I think that's very helpful. So all right, I'm gonna get myself a drink of water here. So Kat writes in, what does your sacred dream mean? So our sacred dream is a idea that our soul, when our higher self was designing our journey here, the big piece of business that our soul really wanted to actualize, something of beauty or something of power. So, for instance, the Taj Mahal was an act of beauty. And so, in that lifetime, that very amazing master teacher created this something that is standing to this day. And it is an act of beauty that people around the world, they go to see that. Yours might be an act of power. You might write a book that is just really brilliant, and it brings encouragement. It helps people to kind of break out of their maybe the small aspect of themselves, and to open their mindset to the idea that there's more in this world. And anytime that you can open your mind up, that way the universe and your angels, they can bring you ideas that are on a higher vibrational level than what you had assumed. So, but if you think that you know all the answers, then you limit yourself to a higher vibrational thought wave on that same subject. So I think that's one of the reasons that spiritual practitioners, they always encourage us to be humble. And anytime that we feel like our cup is full, to empty our cup. And the way that you can empty your cup as a light bearer in your community, and this is one of the ways that I know, is whenever people ask you, well, how do you work through all of this without going crazy? Or how do you do this? Or what are your ideas on that? It's like when people come asking you how or why or what, it's kind of that, to me, is my way of knowing that they're ready to entertain a thought from a different place. They're ready for more. And I really feel like I don't want to give anybody more before they're ready, because to me, what happens then is that you run the risk of blowing their minds, or blowing their wires, or frying their wires. And so that's not comfortable. Sometimes it has to happen. But that's the way I know when people are ready for more, is that somehow or another they open the conversation, or they may say, well, MarVeena, what is it that you think about this, and maybe why? So Anne writes in, Anne Marie, I love working with my angels. I would like advice on self-realization. So Anne, everything that we've been talking about in this video are all ideas about self-realization. So first of all, just create that intention to step up into your power and to honor your highest soul blueprint, and be open-minded about that, because our ego often gets its sights set on another way than what, or some idea that has nothing to do with what the soul wants to accomplish. And when that happens, that's whenever you get a lot of like blowback, like nothing's working for you, everything is cattywampus, you keep having setbacks. I feel like that's the universe's way of saying that you need to shift gears and just kind of do some ceremony, some meditations on what's really, what is your heart really guiding you towards. A lot of times our ego really gets caught up with a shiny path that has nothing to do with what our soul wants wants us to realize about ourselves, our connection to each other, the things that are truly valuable in this physical experience. So Sally Coleman writes in, what can I do to get the angels to heal me from stroke? So that is anytime that we have a devastating physical situation going on, we really have to double down on our connection to our highest self, who is always connected to the God stream. And we have to really work our mindset strategies and meditation techniques of pulling in healing light, love, and love light into all of the affected cells of the body, the affected organs, the affected muscles, on all levels, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, especially too, because often the origins of the disease or the setback or the healing paradigm, they started there in our emotional body or our mental body with some situation that might have happened to you, or it might be with your stance. Like you may have a real hardline stance on life, like it's black or it's white, it's good or it's bad, and there's gray and there's stuff in between. And if you are very rigid in your thinking and your mindset, then you're not going to be open to being able to hear messages and to have a healing in the body. So at this point, this is a very serious situation, and you really have to give it up to God to help you to reverse. And it takes a lot. And unfortunately, there's very few allopathic techniques that, although we want to make the best of the allopathic world and the homeopathic, the naturopathic, the osteopathic, but I would just meditate on outside techniques that you can use, and just ask your angels, because everybody's going to be different about what can help them with their healing paradigm, depending on your religious upbringing and your mindset and what's available in your community. But open your mind, open your heart, and ask your angels to stream to you ideas, and the Holy Spirit to draw down from the Holy Spirit, because that is where the nourishing prana, the vibrant love light and light love is. So you want to pull that down through your higher self into your physical, mental, emotional bodies, and let yourself absorb that. And then we have to be willing to detox, and that might be thoughts, it might be a stance, it might be our attachment to how we think things should be or are. We may have to let go of those attachments. We might have to do some major shifting. I had one of my clients who was able to heal herself from cancer through meditation, but that's basically all she did. I mean, every day she quit her job and she just focused on meditation techniques to rejuvenate her body and reposition her thought process. And so working with your angels, your guides, your higher self, the Holy Spirit, that is your salvation right now, that can help you to turn the tide. And just think of it that way, is I want to turn the tide of what's going on. But quite often in that situation, the mindset where you have very hard-lined mindset, that's you want to soften your stance and entertain other ideas. That will help you all by itself. So Barb writes in from New York. Did my dad come to visit me last night? So I feel like your ancestors, your dad, and different spirits that have crossed over, they visit you very regularly to try to help you to kind of move through move through all of these challenges the best way that they can. They just want you to know that you have support from your ancestors and from the other side. So Janice from I think it's Minnesota writes in, the atrocities that are going on, they're affecting friendships and relationships. How do we move forward? So yeah, anytime that you have an idea that doesn't harmonize with somebody else's stance or idea, it challenges them. And what in hypnosis we call the prime directive, and that our prime directive is the part of our ego that sort of sets us up as how we can be successful in life and how we can organize and structure our life so that we can survive. So they're not so interested in thrive as in survive. So that the ego part of us is just wanting to like blend in. For God's sake, don't make a fuss or don't stand out, or you might draw unwanted attention. But Janice, I feel like you truly are a light bearer for your community. And sometimes we have to kind of introduce a different way or a different stance than what everybody else is like going along with in order to affect healing for the community or to get different results. And I know that, or I felt like for a long time that I was the black sheep of my family, that everybody thought I just gone off the reservation and lost my mind. And I know that I know the feeling of kind of going against the mainstream, but that's a part of being a light bearer for your community. And sometimes that's shining light on their foolishness or on a stance that is no longer serving their highest good. So it's whenever we shine that light on them, sometimes we create doubt, and that can put them into like a where they spin out and into a very dark place. Anytime we feel like, or they feel like, we have introduced a concept, and a part of them will resonate to it and will feel the truth of it. But then their prime directive is like, well, hold your horses. That's not the way we were taught. That's not the way you were raised. And it could really throw them into a dark place and cause them to question every other thing that they have done to structure their life to protect them. So that's where it they can even be like suicidal. So we just introduce some ideas, and if you are in your heart, then it will resonate that way. And even if they are against it, at first, it's like they will understand that resonance of that heart and that conviction there. And I think that helps. That will help them, kind of like it plants a seed. And we want to do our best to bring that in a beauty way, as the way my teacher always said that. I mean, we can say things, say the truth, and be blunt and be harsh, maybe be mean-spirited, but do your best to let your ideas come from your heart. And I think that most people will receive it with their heart if you do that. And that way it's more likely to kind of stay there, so they can mull it around, so that they can kind of grasp that there are ideas that are outside what they have contemplated. um, I do feel like your brother, I think it's Mark, is just really wanting to let you know he's very proud of you, and let you know that there is more to come that is brilliant, and that he just hopes that you know you have support from the other side to help you to be strong. And but he is very proud of you. He hopes you know that. One thing that I heard is this idea that whenever someone says something to us in a mean way and they try to damn us for our position, that it damns them back, and that means that we're sort of connected to that person and trying to put us in a dark place until we both can sort of work our way out of it. So just remember, any chance that we get to be to help people entertain that there's a reasoning that you're standing for these concepts of freedom, freedom to pursue our business, freedom of speech, and these basic things that our Constitution, and it's brilliant. Our Constitution is truly brilliant here in the United States of America. The people that put that together, they were inspired by the Holy Ghost. Make no doubt about it. They were truly inspired. But those foundational tenets and principles, they are so important. So it may be uncomfortable before it is comfortable, and that is a part of the chaos move that helps us to climb from one level to another level. We always have to go through that phase in order to grab another gear. It's like that suspension moment in time, and that where things are just out of whack before we can get into a like a smoother, more balanced period of time. It's just kind of the way that this universe, that it works. And so just trust that it's not always comfortable being a lighthouse and a light bearer. I mean, you look at the lighthouses that are on the coast, and some of the most horrible storms imaginable, they just beat them relentlessly. But there are so many people that were able to kind of get into the safe harbors, and that means into being able to grab another concept of a higher vibrational level, so it's worth it. So anyhow, just trust today that if I didn't get to answer your question, that just hold it in your heart, your desire to have a connection with a loved one that's important to you, or to understand a message that your angels want to get to you. Just trust that and open your heart and your mind to receiving it however they want to bring it to you. So that might mean as simple as just streaming it across your mind's eye. It might mean that your little 3-year-old son answers your question. Don't doubt it how it comes, and just know that your own angels will help you to get the ideas and the information. It might be through somebody else's message. It might be reading a book this afternoon, or listening to a song that helps you to kind of get an insight that you wanted to get. But anyhow, thank you all for hopping on today. And if you have questions, write them in the comments and I will see if I can answer them. Thank you again. I'm MarVeena. Bye bye.